Hello everybody, welcome back to Hidden Harvest with Liz. Today we're going to be planting out potatoes, but first I'm going to show you really quick what I have done to the potatoes to start with. We have got our regular russets. I have got some leftover from last year. I don't even know if this is going to grow, but I would like to stick it in the ground and find out if it will. And I have got some purple potatoes that are called blue. So what I have done is I have allowed them to chit, which is these little things right here. That's chitting. It's basically where they're growing out the spot where their leaves will eventually come out. That's chitting is. And then I have divided it up to where each area has at least one of those. And then on the side that I had to cut, I dipped it into potash and allowed it to seal for a week and a half. Now it's time to get those guys outside. I would prefer to be able to put these guys out when the soil is a whole lot drier. It's preferred to do it that way. That way they don't rot in ground. But I've got maybe 4 days where it won't be raining, and then we're going to have some more rain come in. And if I don't go ahead and get them in the ground, the summer heat will come in and probably kill off before they even have a chance to fully develop some roots and stuff. So now's the optimum time to be getting those in the ground. I will be planting into this bed and this bed. This bed needs a little bit of work, but this one is ready to go. All right, I do have another 2 plants that are inside this bed. I've got a kohlrabi here that I've actually left in from last year because I'm low on seeds and I'm hoping to get seeds from it. The temperatures are supposed to go all the way up into the 70s in the next few days. So there's a really good chance that some of these winter plants that haven't already bolted, like further on down there in the garden, I have got, let's see, it's the collard greens and the broccoli are both bolting, and I'm saving those in the garden specifically so I can get their seeds, which might put me a little bit late planting into those beds, but free seeds are free seeds, especially the amount of free seeds I will get from those. And that broccoli turned out very well in this environment, and to get those seeds would be invaluable. Then I've got kohlrabi, and I have got leeks over here, and I'm pretty sure that's a garlic growing over there from last year. Must have been one that I missed. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant around the stuff that I currently have in here until the potatoes actually start sprouting and putting on some significant amount of leaves. These things are not going to get in the way, and I will get them out as the potatoes grow. I have also noticed a bunch of tiny little sprouts right here, which makes me think that this is alyssum growing here. And I would really like to be able to move the alyssum somewhere else, but it is so small I would probably kill it in the process of moving it. So I'm going to try and not hit this spot with any potatoes. But we'll see what happens. If they make it, they make it. If they don't, they don't. If they get big enough, I can move them to another section of the garden. These are some old plants from the okra that I planted. These are the ones that I got seeds from. And I just kind of left them in place until they dissolved, and they easily come out instead of tearing up the garden. I'm going to leave the Malabar spinach in there. From what I hear, Malabar spinach grows back pretty readily, so I'm going to leave that there and hope that we get some more Malabar spinach. Okay. I've gotten everything out that I need to get. I need the little shovel, which I thought I left over here. Potatoes typically go 6 inches underground. This bed has been topped off, so we can go for the full 6 inches underground. That bed was topped off before it was planted into. This one has not been planted into. I'm trying to think if there's any other place I could sneak some potatoes in, because I honestly have way too many to go into these 2 beds. First things first. I kind of want to pull this one and put it in with the others. There we go. Got it out of the way. Now, if we go, because I am going to plant along here, so we need to go back some to probably about here. This was from the Rosella, which I determined if I ever grow again, I will not be growing in my beds. They take up way too much room. Right here. Sadly, that's all the room I've got, and I have got so many potatoes. And I think my biggest problem is in years past, I would overload the potatoes and there wouldn't be enough room for all of them to grow. So this year, I'm going to try something different and not overplant. All right, this one, I'm going to put my purple ones on this side. I'm going to pick out the very best ones I can find. I will go and get either some pine needles, some hay, maybe leaves, depending on what all I can find, and cover them around the base to keep them from getting too dry during our summer, because our summers get really, really hot, really, really dry. And these plants can use a bit of, like, you don't have to keep the water on the garden. You can most certainly let it dry from time to time, but you definitely want to keep the moisture to it, and we get way too hot. There we go. I guess I'm going to have to see whether or not anybody else wants some potatoes, because I've honestly got way, way too many. Okay, that's every hole, and I said I would not overdo this year. And this is what I have left over from a pack of seed potatoes that I got from Tractor Supply. So after you cut them up, technically I could finish out with one bag of seed potatoes from Tractor Supply. I could technically plant out 2 beds. And this is like a 2-pound bag. The other potatoes I've got were a 3-pound bag. And I have got plenty of leftover. Like, I can share these with other people to see if anybody else needs any potatoes for the year. And these guys are fisting to get moved, but they are my mint plants, and they look very, very pitiful. I have actually reset these. I have taken little snippets of these plants and put them in my house to continue to grow up, so I can dump these or something. It's very hazardous to dump mint because you're going to wind up with mint somewhere in your yard you didn't want it. But I've got resets for these. Now, before I close these plants off, I have got potash, which helps out with the potassium that these plants need. But I've also got some bone meal that I'm going to put in. Because I don't mind not getting like big potatoes. The purple ones I haven't used before, so I don't know if I want those as large potatoes or not. These, it's okay if some of these are small. So I'm going to do 4 lines of 4. And pick out the prettiest ugly one that I've got, which is probably this one right here. I'm going to plant this in one, because I don't know about the rest of these. I'll probably find someplace else to stick these. Just random places in the yard to see if I can get them to grow. And the rest are going to be these. These are fresh seeds. Fresh seed potatoes. You got to be careful about using your same product every single time. This one will go right here. Because if you do, there could be a chance for pathogens to go from one year to the next year. And there are certain things that you don't want coming back inside your yard. Certain kinds of blight. Should be careful about that. Like I said, that was just one bag, so I still have plenty. I could have planted out 2 beds with just that one bag. Okay, and as far as any of the fertilization that I'm going to be using for the potatoes, I have got a multi-purpose fertilizer in a big bucket that I just dumped in here. And then I have got this bone meal. The bone meal is specifically for root development and tuber development in this case. So that's the reason that's going to go in there. I'm not going to put the other of the NPK because it's not needed necessarily for these plants, and it's covered what we need by the multi-purpose one. So that's all I'm using is multi-purpose, and then specifically a little bit of bone meal. So this hopefully will be the only fertilizer I need to add to them. If they look pitiful later in the year, I will definitely add some more, but I don't think we're going to need it. Alright, and that's all you gotta do in order to plant your potatoes. Now I just gotta get cleaned back up and find out if somebody else wants some of these seed potatoes that I can't use. Hello everybody, welcome back to Hidden Harvest with Liz. I think this is probably going to be another one of those where I put it in a long list of things we've done, and this is probably going to be the last video on this recording. Is going to be the tour for March. So we're going to cover the orchard, we're going to cover the seed starting area, and we're going to cover the garden. A lot of stuff to get through, so we probably need to jump on it. Alright, now it's time to check out what we've got going on with our seed area. We are on our third planting of seeds. This should be the final one, except for maybe cucumbers. I'll be doing 2 other plantings of that. And I probably won't be doing squash this year, like summer squash this year, so I'm not worried about those either. But let's go ahead and take a peek what we got over here. Now, I just started these out yesterday, so none of this stuff has come up, but we've got our winter squashes, cucumbers, some melons. I've got a whole nother batch of tomatoes that are going on, several different types, all indeterminates. And over here I've got all of my deep summer stuff like okra, jicama, things like that that'll be going in later in the season, plus one more batch of determinate tomatoes. These ones are going to be the Romas. The other ones are all outside, so we'll go check those out in just a second. But as you can see, slowly getting to where things can go outside. I do apologize, we have an air compressor that's going right now. Let's go ahead and show this. We've got our super sauce. We've got a whole bunch of different flowers and basils. We've got dill. We've got a couple of extra tomatoes, a few peppers from the second planting, peppers from the first planting. These are jalapenos. Tomatoes from our second planting. These are the super sauce. Those are the bush steak. Then we've got these California Wonders. I've got 2 trays of California Wonders. I've got some extra mint right here I'm propagating, extra rosemary that I've propagated, and an extra California Wonder. Alright, and now I'm actually going to show the orchard because there's been a lot of changes in the orchard and everything's coming back, so I want to go ahead and show that one in this video. So let's start on the left side and work our way over. Right here we have a brown turkey fig, I think is what this one is called. We did get some frost damage. There was one late frost that happened and took out some of the leaves, but the plant survived. It's starting to come back. We have got our elderberry right here, and I've got 2 plants of it. I'm thinking about taking these and moving them further out over here, or taking some cuttings of this and moving the cuttings over there. Okay, and in our, I guess you could say this is the 4th line of plants. We've got one mulberry bush. It got burnt back a little bit because of the frost, but it is still alive. We got some green over here too. Like I said, I apologize about the noise. He's over there working on tires and I don't want to stop him because he's doing a thing. We got a mulberry bush. We've got our other fig. And it got burnt back too. This is also the one I had a lot of issues with last year. And I kept having to cut it back, and there's still more damage left on it. You see the skin of it. They've slowly been eating. Hi Leah, how are you doing? They've slowly been eating away at the trunk, so I may have to cut this back down to the root and allow it to grow back in order to stop this from happening. I'm not really sure, but at some point we may actually have to cut this one out of here. But even after all the cuts, it came back this much, so we'll see. And then over here is our second mulberry bush. It did a whole lot better than the first one because the first one is kind of in shade over there. Or at least it was before a few branches broke. But this one has, I actually can't tell if I was pointing at it. This one has a little bit of dieback because of that frost, of course, but it's starting to grow back. Now we have 1 plum tree. As a matter of fact, we have 5 plum trees that have been added to the orchard. I'll show those in just a minute. But these guys were transplanted from somebody else, and we're waiting to make sure that the roots have settled and that the plant comes back. And then I'm going to, it looks like there's 2 trees here. I can either pull one up or cut it down. I think we only need 5. Hi, Leah. Hi, Leah. We're probably just going to cut it to 1. Then over here, this tiny little thing right there. I'm not even sure if you'll be able to see it against the backdrop of everything else. That's a small pawpaw tree. That's the second one that I had to get because the first one that was here died on me. So this is a replanting, and I did actually take it out one time with a weed eater by accident, and surprisingly it came back. We'll find out whether or not this survived the winter or not. Okay, and then I'm gonna go to this aisle. We have got our apple trees. I'm not 100% sure that these guys survive the winter. We'll find out if they break bud or not. This one looks like it's doing okay though. It's got some buds. The other one's looking kind of sad. We'll see. Then I've got 2 more plum trees here and here. This one has got 3 stalks. So as soon as this one recovers from transplant shock, I'll probably cut it down to 1. This one was already a 1 stalk, but we're just making sure that everything is okay before I go trimming anything, because it does need some lower limbs trimmed. But I'm not going to worry about that this year. I'm just going to let it settle this year. And then up here on the front line, we've got another plum tree. Like I said, I'll be cutting down to 1 stalk. There's 2 down there, so I'll cut down to 1. And I'll probably trim these things up come fall. And then our other plum tree. And this one has got 2 stalks in there. I'll obviously trim this down to 1, but it's going to wait till fall time. And then we come over here. The pawpaw tree has finally broke dormancy. Though, there was a lot of damage this year that happened. It's actually split. So I guess we'll find out whether or not this thing can survive, fully recover, maybe put on new growth from the other side. I'm not really sure. But it might get to the point where I need to order some more pawpaw trees because neither one of them are doing very well. And in the world of the hidden harvest section of it, the plants that I started out here last year are starting to come back. It's a mixture of a lot of different plants that will slowly get bigger and eventually a vine that will go on the fence. The hidden part of hidden harvest is probably going to take the longest amount of time to actually accomplish, just because I really want to get the fence replaced before we start really working on the hidden part of it. But those plants have started and they've started dividing, so it will be a good start for whenever we finally get that part done. Okay, it is insanely bright, so I'm hoping you guys can actually see me on the screen. I'm not 100% sure. But I'm going to do the thing that I normally do and give you guys an idea of the location of all the stuff that we're going to be looking at today. Right here is the house. Right here is the orchard. Right here is the driveway coming up to our second part of our house. We've got the driveway side beds, the main garden, all the trellising. We've got our chickens, the chicken coop, berry patch, needs a lot of work. This is where the greenhouse used to be, and right now it's just kind of a sitting area. And then we've got this area over here, some perennial stuff and things like that. This area is going to get a rework this year, and hopefully I can get started on that this year. Let's start with our driveway side beds over here. Right here, I'm trying to do a perennial space for garlic. These are all elephant garlics. Whenever you harvest elephant garlic, sometimes it'll leave little bitty, what I would call probably seeds, but they're actually called chromes. I think that's how you say them. Something like that. I'll put the word up somewhere, like right here. They leave those behind, and a lot of times you'll wind up getting garlic in random places in your bed if you grow elephant garlic. And I figured, why not just make a bed specifically for leaving those guys in and more growing back every year. So that's what this bed is. We have got our walking onions. And it looks like they are about to start walking. So I was planning on harvesting this bed out, but I'll probably wait until after the bed is done and the bulbs come up. Because I do have green onions over here, so I don't necessarily need to get a harvest from these. What I will probably do, though, is as soon as these guys make bulbs, I'll harvest a whole bunch of them and put them back for people. But after that, I really need to get these things divided during the fall, because it is overgrowing this bed right now. Alright, and then we've got a dedicated flower bed. I've got a lot of stuff that's coming back. We'll see whether or not this area fills back in, otherwise I need to make another plant for that one. But these guys seem to be doing okay. Looks like a bit of a fungi issue. If I have some copper spray, I could probably spray that on there, but I'm not sure if I should worry about it. We'll see. And then I have got a perennial herb and flower bed. This is yarrow. By the way, I'm not really sure what these are. I'd have to look them up. I never memorized that one, but this one I do. This is hyssop, yarrow, rosemary. And sadly, I think the feverfew just died out, so we'll see whether or not that comes back. But the marshmallow is slowly starting to come back. I don't even know if you guys can see that, but there are some tiny, tiny leaves down here. So the perennial part of this did actually work. And I have started seed for more. So this might become something I want to put in its own bed rather than in this bed with these guys. But I'll figure that out later. Then this bed is supposed to be my amaranth bed. I have seen nothing perk up just yet, but I put a lot of stuff into this bed, so I may have to replant. This one is my sunflower bed. As soon as I can get out here and get this stuff reworked and put some more soil on the top, because this is just kind of filler from last year because they were so low. I need to top these off and get some more seeds in the ground. Now let's go back up here and start at bed 1. Okay, I'm going to go from bed to bed, bed to bed in that order, so it'll be 1 and 6 instead of 1 and 2. All right. Inside this bed, we have potatoes planted this year. You can see them kind of peeking out. During the frost, it did burn back some of the stuff. You can see the dead leaves here, but they are still doing well. The potatoes didn't actually freeze. I threw a whole bunch of leaves on top of them to protect them, and they're fine. And then over here, I have got some Malabar spinach that is cropping back up. So I'm going to let several of them come up. I do want them on this trellis again this year, but I'll also transplant out some of these to a different bed. There's a whole lot more over there too. So this one right here will likely be Malabar spinach, and I may put it on both sides just because I like the way that they look. I've got my 2 mints here, and I can't see my screen there. Over here, we have got more potatoes. Those over there are the blue, which is actually like a purple potato, and these are like russet potatoes. And they are slowly coming back. And I even have one potato that was left over from, well, I say one potato. There was a lot of potatoes left over from last year, but I actually, on a whim, decided to put one in the ground just to see if it would grow, and it does. Which means there's a potential for me to save some of these and actually have them last until the next year. And right here in the center, I have got one last kohlrabi left that made it all the way through the winter. I was going to leave it in here long enough to see if I could get some seed from all the flowers and everything, but it's been through a frost and I'm not sure if I'm going to get any seed from this. We'll see. As soon as I can make that determination, this will be coming out either way. Then at the bottom of the bed, I have got leeks that have been planted since last year. They're looking rather thick. There's all the nosy chickens. They see you. I have got, I don't know what's going on with this particular leek. It's just being weird. But these guys are rather thick leeks. There's some thicker ones further down in the garden, but these are very cool. This is the first year I've grown these, and I'm looking forward to making some like potato leek soup or something like that. But I haven't actually pulled or tried one yet, and I've never had a leek before. This should be fun. And then over here, we have got the remnants of the basil that I had last year, 2 bushes that I just kind of left here because they were blooming up and I left them for the bugs. Then we've got all of the carrots. We got a puppy. Hey, Tux. Hey, Tux. How you doing, Tux? We have got our carrots. These were planted last year. As a matter of fact, I had a heck of a time trying to get my carrots to germinate last year. This is the same planting. They stalled out during the winter time, and now they're starting to put on greens. I don't know if these guys are going to bolt though, so I'm not sure if we're going to get any of these carrots, but I've left them in to see what they do. Green onions, that one's about to bulb, which I'm okay with because I want some more seed. These right here are from seeds saved from the previous year, because none of the seed that was purchased or gotten, none of that stuff germinated, but these guys did. So I definitely want to have the seeds that come out of any of these plants for next year. And then we come over here to bed 7, and we have got our onion. We've got some whites, some yellows, some reds, all different kinds. I was actually hoping to fill in this entire bed with onions. I just don't see that happening because I don't have them yet, and it's going to be way behind if I put them in now. So this might be the only onion harvest we get. Just go back to bed 8, and here we've got some more leeks. Like I said, these guys are rather big. I can't wait to start harvesting those. I could technically harvest them now, I just haven't had a reason to. This is the one where I had my green cabbage, and I just cut it off, and they seem to be... we got an egg song going. We've got several plants sitting in here, but this is where I'm going to plant some tomatoes this year. And as soon as those tomatoes are done hardening off, this is where they're going to go. Then over here, I have still got some red cabbage that needs to come out. This bed needs to be cleaned up. And I've got some more leeks back here in the corner as well. And then further back, this is my bee attractor for right now. And I am currently waiting on seeds. Hopefully, I can get seeds before I need this bed. But this is collard greens. They did very well this year, and I would love the seed from this for next year. So I'm trying to hold out. If I have to, I will pull all but 2 plants that allow me to get seeds. But they are starting to put on pods. Not sure if you guys can see that. I got little pods here. Okay, and then back here, I've got a kale that is left over, and it's doing pretty well. It hasn't bolted, but it's also on the other side of these. So the sun's over here, then these, and it's casting shade on here. So it's actually protecting this plant, which is nice. More leeks, a calendula that has survived. Then over here, a few more leeks. This is the broccoli that came through last year, and now it's starting to bloom and hopefully put on some seeds. Though, like everything else, this went through a frost and it killed off some of the blooms. But I am hoping that they come back enough for me to get some seeds, because this one over here has got a few seed pods on it. Yeah, that's all I see. This one right here I cut off totally, and it came back at the bottom. And it looks like the ants are already doing their thing. There are already aphids all in this bed, and they're going after the weeds, which I guess is fine. And this one has actually got another one. This is 11. And I have got some radishes going over here, some beets going over here. These probably won't do anything because I was not able to thin them out. But we'll just see. I might just keep them for their greens. It's fine. And then we've got some lemon balm, which has come back beautifully. A little bit of frost burn, just a little bit from whenever we had that freeze, but this stuff smells so good. And then over here, we have got some cauliflower spring planting. We got it here, 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 and here. Nothing there because that is where my turmeric was last year. I did leave some in the ground, and I'm hoping that it survived our winter and will come up again. So this is a big question mark. I do have some turmeric in the house that I can replant if necessary. But right now I've just got some basil sitting in here waiting. And I've got a whole bunch of something that is coming up, and I'm going to say it's probably butterfly weed, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm thinking once a few of them get big enough, I'll transplant them out and then overturn the rest of them. So far though, the moonflower has not come back this year, even though it's a perennial. This is the bed that had the cauliflower in it last time. The bed needs a complete reset. And then over here, we have our spring planting of broccoli and what, a garlic maybe? That looks like a garlic. I don't know. I didn't put it there, but it's there. And then stepping back from this, I have got 2 goji berries, and 2 gooseberries. And so far they do look like they're coming back, but this whole area right here, as soon as we get the fence in, this area is going to be cultivated better, and we'll likely have this type of flooring plus a couple of beds that are sitting here too as flower borders for the entire garden. Okay, and then up here is usually a place where I either set my tools or plants or something like that before they go out into the beds. I've got 2 I've got 4 blueberry bushes here that really need transplanting out, but I'm leaving them in for this year. I've got oregano that has like taken over this entire bed. Some sage, which we might actually find out what a sage bloom looks like this year. Cool. Then we have got our regular garlic and a big batch of walking onions. I've already harvested 1 batch out of here, and I'll probably thin this one out too. Then we've got our Jerusalem artichoke bed. And so far I don't see anything coming up, but right now I'm kind of more worried about the fact that this was supposed to have been taken apart and these moved out of here. That might have to wait till next year. And over here we have our asparagus, and it is coming up. It is looking mighty thick here on some of these. And then over here we have got our blackberries. These beds need cleaning out. I have not even started working on these beds yet. I was thinking about getting a couple of kennels and putting chickens along the path and let them clean it out. I think they would appreciate that. So that might happen. We have got some dandelions planted here that survived from last year. And my raspberry area is looking, well, very pitiful. I tried to climb out here, and it's over there, but it's not over there. So it has escaped from its location and taken off elsewhere. And then over here on the back side, this is our extended chicken run. We've got another garden bed that's going in here. I've been filling it in all winter long. We had a bit of a water leak go on right here, but we'll get that situated in no time. And I will get this filled in, and I'll be putting some herbs and all kinds of stuff here that the chickens can snack on, far enough away where they can't get to the roots, but enough for it to grow in there, and then they can get supplemental stuff from this bed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the tour. I hope you guys have had a great year. I would love to know down in those comment sections, what are you guys working on? How far along are you in your gardening journey? And what plant are you the most anxious to get the harvest from this year? I'm looking forward to the Cherokee tomatoes. Those things are so good. And I don't even know why. It's ridiculous. So that's what I'm looking forward to. What are you guys looking forward to this year? I will see you next time. You have a wonderful day, wonderful night, and you stay shiny. Bye!